in this next segment, I'm going to go over climate and environment. So something that plays a huge factor in how your hair performs is what type of atmosphere you're living in. I live in Vegas, so it is very dry here. We're a desert. As a result, what can happen if you don't put enough moisture in your hair in a dry climate? You will actually create a copious amount of static, and it almost mimics frizz because you get all the flyaways, but they're not handled the same way. So a lot of times what will happen is I will have a client in for a blowout and they're coastal, so maybe they live in New York or something like that, and they're like, oh, no product, no conditioner, nothing. And I'm like, cool. But then what happens is once we finish the blow dry, they have all these flyaways. And the reason why is because I didn't have any moisture in the hair. So that's usually a little bit of a battle. So if you're somewhere that's drier, you really want to focus in on your conditioners and your leave-ins. If you live somewhere humid, humidity is a very hard thing to combat when you're wearing your hair on the curly side, because if you don't put any moisture into your curls, they won't form. But if you put too much moisture into your curl and you live in a moisture place, they will poof. So what do? Well, you may want to only do like a bi-weekly mask treatment just to make sure that your hair is absorbing any nutrients, the curls and texture can form and be supported. And then look for products that are anti-humectants. And you really want one that is formulated for curls or texture because it will have nutrients in them that help support to make sure you can form and polish your hair, but it won't be so drying that it can actually dry out the cuticle and the cortex, stopping the curl from forming. It's not one answer for that. You kind of have to play with it, but just keep that in mind when you're thinking about what products do I need for my hair to work. The biggest factor and the first one you need to consider is where am I living? If you are in someone who travels a lot, then you're probably gonna need two separate types of products. One that are moisture based if you're visiting someplace that's dry, and then one that is an anti-humectant if you're visiting someplace that's more damp.